This is Behind the Music Biz, a Raised Rowdy podcast. I'm your host, Peyton Heben. This is episode 24. Today we are joined by a good buddy of mine that I've known since I moved to town. He's been a big part of the Raised Rowdy family for quite some time now. He's had a lot of experience on the road doing photography and videography. Spent a lot of time tour managing, and he's currently the assistant tour manager for Josh Ross. So please welcome Brennan Kato.
What's up, dude?
I said your last name right?
Yeah, Kato.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, a lot of people call me Kato, like back home.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brennan's cool too.
Honestly, I didn't practice it beforehand. I've never really called you your last name that much.
Yeah,
So
it's usually easier. But
thanks for coming on, dude.
yeah, dude, thanks for having me. It's been a while.
It's hard to get you when you're in town.
Yeah.
You're on the road a ton.
I know it's been a busy year. It's been a busy 2 years, really.
That's good though.
But yeah, it's been fun.
You've been killing it.
Thanks.
So kind of tell me your story about coming to town, how long you've been here, and what you've been up to since you moved, and kind of how you got into it, just the whole thing.
Yeah. A little bit about me. I'm from Douglasville, Georgia, right outside of Carrollton. I went to the University of West Georgia for college after I graduated high school. When I was 19, I got a camera for Christmas, so I started DMing like rappers in Atlanta. I made like a separate Instagram called Brennan Took It. Backstory on that, I took a picture one time of my buddy on my phone, and like a couple days later, I sent him the picture, and he was like, "Dude, who took that?" And I was like, "Brennan took it," and then it like just rang like a little light bulb above my head. Anyway, started doing that, and fast forward like a few months, I had got a few people to hit me back on Instagram, and I would drive like late night to Atlanta to studios, learned how to take photos and video. Then I dropped out of college, and my parents kind of wanted me to get a job and, you know, one foot in front of the other, kind of figure stuff out. And I never really like saw myself staying in my hometown or staying in Georgia. But after I dropped out, I kind of hung around like college a little bit and got pretty lazy. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was still going to Atlanta a lot. So I had a cousin that moved up here. His name's Bailey. He owns a company called Cowboy Pools. So I had moved up here. Or before I moved up here, I called him and was like, "Hey, dude, I need a job. I kind of want to get out of my hometown. Could I like move to Nashville and work with you?" He was like, "Yeah, dude, for sure." So like a month went down the road, packed all my stuff up. My parents helped me move up here. I got a little apartment with a buddy from college that had lived up here. I started doing that, and on the weekends I would DM, like if I saw any shows in town, like DM the artist in Nashville to pull up and do photos. I was doing a lot of work for free, just trying to build that resume up, you know, just networking, getting connections. So I did that, and did that for probably 7-8 months maybe, and then it ended up getting on the road full time, and I haven't had, I guess what we'd call a day job since.
What was the driving factor for you to drop out?
Dude, I was just really lazy when it came to schoolwork. So I'm the type of person, like if I really like something, like I'm going to go all in with it. And like, I mean, you know, there's stuff you have to do that you don't like to do that everybody does. But when it came to school, dude, I'd be in class and I would be on, you know, my laptop searching like shows around me, like concerts near Carrollton, Georgia, like photo, video tips. Just my mind was in a whole different place.
Yeah.
So it was just being lazy and not wanting to waste any more money.
No, I get that entirely. I think, at least for me, like I did the whole college thing. And at first, like I started out at Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
So like
Eagles, baby.
Yeah, it didn't end well for me there. It took about
Probably wouldn't end well for me there either.
Yeah, the first semester it was like my dad came to visit me and I had him pretty, like I had it showing that I was doing really well, but I was like rock bottom.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to hit it there.
For sure.
But then I kind of I moved back to Florida and kind of got back on my feet.
Yeah.
And did the college thing, and because I thought that's what I had to do. Towards like the end of my last year and a half, I was like coming back and forth to Nashville, and I was pretty checked out. But I finished, and I have yet to show for my degree.
Yeah.
So like I don't think at the end of the day, I mean I've had conversations on here many times about people that have gone to college and never used their degree in town. So I don't think that like ever really matters.
No, for sure. I always looked at it as like if I didn't have a music business degree, where I went to school at University of West Georgia, they don't offer that. So I mean the next best thing I guess is like a business degree or entrepreneurship or something.
Yeah. That's why I graduated in entrepreneurship.
But I wasn't going for any of that stuff, and then I don't know, I just kind of realized like no matter what field you're in, music, like construction, finance, whatever you're in, like experience is very like highly favored. So, like, you know, if you have somebody, I always think of it as like, if I was hiring somebody to go on the road, like if I had somebody with a music business degree that has no touring experience, someone that doesn't have a music business degree, or I don't like studied music or anything to do with that, but, you know, has 2 or 3 years experience on the road, like you're always going to, you know, go with people that have done it before and know how to act on the road and
100%.
Stuff like that. But shout out to Matt Burrill. I forgot to mention that right before I moved up here, I was coming back and forth a lot, like just meeting people. And I met Burrill in Carrollton at a Muscadine Bloodline show with Noah Hicks in like 2019 maybe. So me and Burrill kind of kept up on social media. And then when I was coming up here a lot, he was always like inviting me places and introducing me to people. So he was like a big part of my move too.
So was that your, did he get you your first gig on the road? Because you had said that you got your first road gig and you never had a day job since.
My first, I'm trying to think, my first actual like tour kind of when I was like quit pools for good.
Yep.
It was with Drayton Farley. So I DM'd Drayton like, man, probably in 2020, maybe 2021. I was a huge fan. I still am, but I was a huge fan of him. I listened to his songs on the way to work. So I DM'd him and I was like, hey man, if you ever need any photo or video on the road, like I would love to come out. Don't really care what your budget is, but like I just want to, you know, come help you out. I think he read it and like didn't reply. And then I was like, man. So I DM'd him again. Just being that annoying kid that would not take no for an answer. So funny enough, like I sent him a second message and then like a few weeks went by and he replied and he was like, hey man, I'll be in Nashville. I think it was November 11th, 2021, maybe. That sounds right. He played the basement, like the OG basement, and he sold it out, solo acoustic. So sick. I got to go there. I met him for the first time. After the show, we went and grabbed Zaxby's, and he showed me like his whole record. It's called 20 on High. He showed me that whole record before it came out, and we stayed pretty tight. So that was November, and then obviously, you know, December, January rolls around. There's not much going on the road for real. So I kept working there, and then I think it was like April or May came around, dude, of 2022. And Drayton called me, and he was going on tour supporting Whiskey Myers and some Charlie Crockett dates. And then I just told my boss my 2 weeks was in, and I was hitting the road. But before that, I'm pretty sure I went out with Trey and the guys when Burrill was still tour managing them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a full-time thing or anything. It was just picking up when I was available, and that kind of taught me like tour etiquette, and that was my first time ever on a tour bus. A shout out to Trey Lewis for bringing me on the tour bus for the first time. But yeah, just picking up all those side gigs like while I was still working too, it just kind of taught me a lot.
You're what, 24, 23?
Yeah, 24. I'll be 25 in February.
Okay, so you're a month older than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when I think I first met you in like 2022.
Yeah.
And I had known you. I think you were running with Paxton at the time.
Yeah, I was running around with Paxton P.
Yeah.
Shout out to the
doing
boy.
stuff for him. And that's at that time. That's all I knew that you did.
Yeah.
You did like tour management for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had a conversation because I had asked you how you got into tour management because like you had no experience prior really. So how do you like really get into the tour management thing having no, I guess, musical background really? Do you?
No, I can't sing or play guitar or nothing.
Because it takes a little bit
I don't know,
of
dude.
knowledge.
That's a great question. I'm still figuring it out, like crazy enough. So I tour managed Drayton for a whole summer. Like I was saying, the Whiskey Myers stuff. We did some Charlie Crockett support. Great shows. Like I got to see all of Out West for the first time and really learn like what a tour manager is. And then now with Josh, I'm assistant tour managing him. And dude, just getting into it, I was like, even when I was doing photo and video, like I was still just hands on. Like I was always trying to help the guys out, like no matter what it was. If we get out, like if we get to a venue and we get out, we're looking at the venue and then they're like, all right, guys, y'all can load in. Like without question, I'm just going to pick some shit up and take it to the stage. And, you just do that over and over. You kind of learn where things go. You kind of learn what needs to be brought in, what needs to wait, like what goes into what, like plug-in in wise. If Josh and Jake Gant watch this, I still, to this day, I'll get so caught up. I mess up a guitar strap. So a guitar strap goes a certain way on a guitar. I've learned that. And I'll have the guitar all set up, and Jake will be like, oh, dude, like, nice guitar strap. And it'll be, like, upside down backwards. I'm like, oh, my God. So I'm learning every day, but I don't know, dude. I would just say just being a helping hand. You know, just be willing to do something that, you might not know how to do, but you ask questions, and you can never ask too many questions.
Yeah, that was the big thing I was going to bring up.
Never ask too many questions.
Yeah, And that goes for anything
And
in the music business.
There's no such thing as a stupid question
Yeah.
either.
And that goes for anything in the music business. Like, no matter what, if you want to know about it and you want to learn, like, ask the question.
Yeah,
ask a question.
ask somebody.
No one's going to judge you for being, oh, that kid's an idiot. For
absolutely.
Like, no. It's,
that was one
everyone's
big
trying to
thing
help.
I had to learn was, asking questions and asking for help because, like, I don't know, just how I am. I don't really like to ask for help when it comes to certain things. But I've learned, like, it's okay to ask for help because if the person you're asking for help or asking how they did it, they didn't know how to do that at one point and they had to ask somebody for help.
I also think, especially like when you're in it, like if you're in the moment on the road or whatever, and so you're working alongside Wyatt, right? Does Wyatt manage Josh or tour manage Josh
Wyatt,
Foster? Yeah,
no,
he does not. Oh, okay.
Anymore. So
then
when Wyatt stepped down, I got a call. Right, Jake Gant sent a text in like my group chat of friends. I was like, "Hey, can anybody like tag along on the road to like help drive?" I think that we were going to Canada or something. You had to have a passport and just be like a helping hand because they were kind of trying to figure out what they were going to do. And I was off that weekend, and my passport was in Georgia, and we were leaving the next day. And I was like, dang, dude, like I'm not on the road this weekend. Like, I would love to make some extra money and, connect with these guys. Like I knew Josh a little bit. Me and Jake Gant have been buddies for a while, and I didn't know anybody else in his camp. So I was like, you know what? It'll be a pretty cool opportunity, and like there's a wild chance, like maybe they'll like me, and I can just kind of, maybe that could be my new gig potentially. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'd love to help. So they were waiting. They were kind of figuring out if they were going to give me the go ahead or not, but I didn't want to tell them that my passport was all the way in Georgia. So like I'm waiting, and luckily enough, my sister met me halfway, gave me the passport. Next day, I hopped in and we just left, and I was just kind of trying to be a good hang and trying to help out as much as I could, just stepping in and trying to fill a role.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But now it's me and my buddy Elliot.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm assistant tour manager and he's tour manager.
Cool.
So
Yeah, I did not know that at all.
Yeah, so Elliot's helping me out a lot, but yeah, that's kind of how that all came about.
Interesting. Real quick, like back to the point about asking questions. If like someone comes to you for something and you don't know the answer, but you're too afraid to ask somebody else, and you tell them that other person the wrong answer, like that's going to destroy your credibility for any time going forward. Yeah. And that's something that I've learned because I've always been like, someone comes to me for something and I'm like, even if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you what I think or like try and find it on my own.
Yeah.
And if I tell you the wrong thing, like you're never going to trust me again. You're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something that you should know way ahead of time, no matter what you're doing in the business.
One thing I've learned from going out so much and just going out with the mindset to meet people and make connections and just talk to people is once you do that enough in this town and you meet enough people, like if you ask me some question I know the answer to, I know somebody that knows the answer to it.
100%.
So I can call them and ask them. That's what I do a lot. Like if it's a question or if it's like a problem or like trying to find a solution to said problem. That's one thing I've learned a lot is like if you really think about it, you probably know somebody. Or if you don't know somebody that knows it, you are going to know somebody that knows somebody.
Right.
So it's like a help me, help you community for sure.
And also for you, being on the road, like you said, you were with Drayton when he was with Whiskey Myers and who was the other one you said?
Charlie Crockett. 49 Winchester.
So seeing
those bands.
Seeing like their tour managers kind of do it at a extremely large scale.
Yeah.
Were there any of them that you kind of like shadowed when you're on the road? So you kind of got to like learn without having to just be thrown into the fire?
I wouldn't say shadow, but there's definitely like I'll kind of sit back in the corner like. So on some of the Drayton stuff, especially on the Drayton stuff, when I first started out with Drayton, he was solo acoustic. He was kind of building his band as he was, making a name for himself as his numbers were climbing and things like that. So we had a lot of downtime, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So when we had a lot of downtime, I would stand in the corner and kind of watch the main act and their tour managers and, go talk to them and then kind of sit off in the corner like I was saying and just watch them. And like, oh, okay, they talk about this before this starts. That way, whenever when this happens, it's going to be smooth. And then, I would pick up on a lot of stuff. There wasn't really anybody per se that I shadowed or anything. I just kind of figured it out as I went. Kyle Lewinsky, which is Drayton's manager, he was with CAA for a long time, and now he's with Range Media Partners. Great dude. owe him a lot, but he really kind of gave me some advice whenever I was first starting out with Drayton and just like figuring out how to advance a show. And like I would CC him on everything, and he would kind of talk to him, and I'd be like, oh, okay, so this is how you advance this. This is how you, if you don't know like your arrival time or how you're getting there, then this is what you say, and then you follow up with him. So he was a big help in like the right direction. But I don't know, it's just kind of context clues and just watching other people do it for real, and then asking them questions too.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we would even go on the road too, and like there would be some bigger acts. I'm not gonna say their names, but I would like watch their tour managers during the day or ask them questions, and I was like, I feel like they should know more than kind of, I guess, what they're showing that they know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just picking up like negative and positive stuff on the road, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't spent too much time on the road, but like when I am there, for me, it's a lot of like learning. Just in case like an opportunity ever comes up where I need to be in that position.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's just like finding different ways to be valuable.
Yeah, you said it best. That's literally what it's about.
Like for you have the ability to like learn all the aspects of tour management, and then you also are good at photography and videography, which like
Thank you.
is valuable to any artist that brings you out on the road, because they're killing two birds with one stone.
I always told my parents whenever I started doing this crazy ride or dream or whatever you want to call it, that I'd never wanted to like go all the way with videography and photography, as weird as that sounds. I always is like a foot in the door, because like we were talking about earlier, I don't have any musical background. Like none of my family really plays music. I had just always like ever since the first time I ever went to like a country music concert, I just like fell in love with it. I kind of wanted to be around the scene. And I felt like photo and video, I got, I got decent at it. I'm not spectacular by no means. There's a lot of my buddies are way better than me. But that was kind of a foot in the door, kind of, meet faces, see the same person, people recognize you. But to me, dude, it's all about being a good hang.
100%.
And then doing what you say you're going to do. So if you're not the best at what you do, you can get better. You can work hard. You can learn. YouTube is free. But, if you go on the road and you have a bad attitude, or you're just weird, or... I mean, maybe weird is not the best thing to say, or just, I don't know, just not very social, just don't really know how to act like in front of a group of people, because we're as close as me and you are right now for 5-6 days on the road.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
No matter what, eventually, like we're probably gonna get a little tired of each other. So it's really just picking up on stuff like that, but yeah, just on the road.
Are you? Are you somebody that's like, you like to be on the road? Obviously you enjoy like what you do.
Yeah.
But like being away for so long and just traveling all the time, like you're rarely home. You're kind of just living out of a suitcase. I mean, that takes, like I've said it many times on here, that working with tour managers, like that's a specific person to do that job.
I would say I like it more than I dislike it, for sure. I look at it too, like if I'm not on the road, I'm not really making money, or I like to call it progressing. So like every time I go on the road, I try to learn something. I try to meet new people, get a new contact. But where I'm at in my life, I said, we're 24. I don't have any kids. I don't have a girlfriend. I obviously don't have a wife. So just, I don't know. I want to do it while I'm young. Like I've almost been to every state. Like that's crazy to me. I just love traveling and meeting new people. So I would say that, I guess it just comes down to kind of how you are as a person. You don't really let like little shit get you mad or irritated or aggravated. But no, dude, I love what I do. But there are definitely times when, I'm like, oh my God, dude, we got a 15 hour drive. Like I would love to be in my bed right now at home. Or I would love to have a home cooked meal. That's really what I miss the most. Especially when you go out for longer than a weekend run. Like if you're on the road, for 2 or 3 weeks, like without coming home, you're not cooking anything really. Unless you get like an Airbnb or something, you go out to the grocery store. But I miss home cooked meals. I would say.
What do you eat? Just a lot of fast food, or?
I mean, it's a lot of like stopping at Love's or Pilots, like truck stops. They'll have like Wendy's or like a Subway, McDonald's, Arby's connected. But I don't eat when I'm on the road. Yes, I will eat fast food, because sometimes that's all we have. But I've really lately been trying to eat a little healthier, eat more fruit. Try to get a salad instead of a burger or something. But it's a challenge for sure.
How do you like take care of your mental health, I guess, on the road? Because that's been a struggle for a lot of artists and like anybody that's traveling all the time on the road?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know, dude. I wouldn't say like I battle like a mental health all the time, but I'll definitely have those moments to where like sometimes after a show, like I'll just be like laying in the bunk or in the lounge and going to the next show, and I've had those moments where I sit there and I think, and I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Like, is it like we were saying earlier? I'm 24, no kid, like do it now, and then I'm like, I'm looking at some of my buddies that I like my best friends growing up. They got full-time jobs. Like some of them own houses. They're starting families, and I don't know. It's like the compare game kind of comes into play sometimes. If my mom was here right now, like in this building, she would definitely tell the story. So like 2 or 3 months ago, I went back home for like just a weekend to see my parents. This was before I was with Josh, and I was kind of in between gigs, just kind of like picking up like driving shifts for somebody, or like I would do content for a few people, or like I was even like offering to sell merch. Like I was just trying to just get some money, just figure it out. Just being in between artists was weird. So I went home and I was just stressing, dude. I was talking to my mom. I was like, I don't know like what the hell I'm supposed to do. Like, do I apply for a job? I don't know. Like, this is crazy. I'm 24 years old and I feel like I'm starting over, kind of, if that makes sense. And she was like, well, just pray about it, and like something's gonna come up. Like, too many people. Like, you're a good person. It's not gonna last forever. I'll be damned if the next week. That's when Jake sent that message and was like, who wants to hop on the road and fill in. It was a good pay, so I did it, and now it landed me where I am now.
Yeah, so, dude. I mean, I've been there.
Yeah. So
it's weird. It's weird how all that stuff happens. Like, it really is just God's timing on that stuff.
For sure. I would say that's my biggest kind of mental health like question I would have to myself sometimes, is just like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Because like the highs on the road, dude, they're high. Mm-hmm. You're in front of 15,000-20,000 people. Like it's crazy. And especially to hear like the crowd singing the lyrics back to the artist that you're working with, and like everybody's high energy, like everybody's having a great time, like they're living the dream. And then, you have those lows, like sometimes you'll be off the road for 2 or 3 weeks, like I was saying, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay bills, or you're trying to figure out like, damn, should I try to go get like a music business job? Like, should I go try to apply for a label with the work I've created? But it's just really reminding myself, like, I moved up here for a reason. So, and I'm young, like, 24. We could fuck up. Shit, we could mess up for the next like 3 years, and we're not even 30 yet.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of just trying to find that balance, like, stay on that steady like climb, and don't go back down and up. Like, try to grow every day, but then just remember like where you came from.
There always is that light at the end of the tunnel in this business, especially like you said, when you're young.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not tied down by a family, like in your case, if you did have a wife or you did have kids, like obviously in between gigs you would have to go get like 100%. Some sort of job to provide for your family. Yeah. But at this point in your life, I mean, you have the ability to take risks.
Yeah.
Like, you can just up and go on the road and say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I think that is something to take into account if you're like a younger person trying to get into the industry, no matter what you're trying to do, is don't like pass up on opportunities.
Yeah.
Whether it's
yes.
tour management.
1,000%.
Like, if you have no experience, like Brennan had no experience in tour management and got an opportunity and just didn't say no. And I mean, now he's on the road with like a huge up and coming artist that you're hearing on your radio.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
a beautiful thing, dude. Look, you hit the nail on the head. Like, just don't say no, and just just do it. Just be as helpful as you can wherever you can be, and just learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, as weird as it is to say, it's like, I'm not thankful I don't have a girlfriend. That doesn't make sense to say. And like, if my buddies heard me say that, they would just eat me alive. But if I had a girlfriend, or like, if I had a wife or kid, like, you can't say yes to everything then, because then you have obligations, and you have like your family's your priority, or your wife or your girl, that's your priority. So when you have priorities like that set up, I don't know, you just can't, like, in my personal opinion, now everybody's different. There's people that have done this, that have it way, way, way more hard than I do. But I believe how I am and how I characterize things and put stuff over each other. I believe that for me, not having anybody right now to kind of prioritize is just great because I can just
100%.
go until I can't anymore.
Yeah. Like for me, I obviously have a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and it's like if someone offered me a tour management job, that's like
That's a sit down conversation.
yeah, it's like hey, I'm gonna be
I'm gonna be gone for. I counted, dude, in June. I count like, and there's people that do that way more than I do, which blows my mind too because I'm like, oh my god, they haven't been home. And so like in June, I was home 8 days out of the whole month.
Yeah.
And rent comes along and you're paying rent. It's nuts, but I don't know. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, like you were saying, you'd have to sit your girlfriend down and talk and be like, hey, we can we'll be together this day. You can come out to this show.
I think also in your case though, if someone did come along, you're in the position that you are.
Yeah.
So like when they meet you, they know what they're getting themselves into.
That's true. Yeah.
So like in my case, it's if it came tomorrow, it's like we've been together for over a year and I haven't really left all that much. But now I'm gone for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's, like I said, it takes a special type of person. And at this stage,
for sure,
it's like, just take the risk.
It can be so chaotic and it can be, kind of slow. So you just got to take it how it comes. But yeah, it's a certain type of person for sure.
How's it been going with Josh? Like, that's like next level because he's like so on the rise. And I saw the show in Indianapolis. I don't think you were working with them at that point. It was on the Bailey tour.
Okay.
But like the fans eat him up.
Yeah, dude. It's been.
And I mean, now it's just like he's just growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, he's growing a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's been great. I was fortunate enough, to hop on and kind of stay on most of the shows that he's had up until when I hopped on. So we just finished the Bailey Zimmerman tour, so I got to do maybe 4 or 5 shows on that one. Some festival dates. We're actually leaving tomorrow morning. We're playing 3 different festivals. But it is great, like just to see like you said, kind of like the next level stuff. Like Josh he's next level. He the whole band is next level. Like it's just a complete jump. Like the fans, the size venues we're playing. Josh is about to start his own headline tour here soon. So I mean, it's just been like a real big learning experience. I've learned a lot. Josh would tell you that I've been learning a lot. But there's been a lot of questions I've been asking. A lot of things that I've needed help on. For sure, like I went in and just I don't know, dude. It's just at such a larger scale. So it's like the same things kind of, but it's just more important and bigger. And like, for example, there's pyro. Like I finally learned like, when there's fire on stage, like that's a whole nother department. It's just a lot. And that's just like a small thing that really doesn't even involve me, but just to like I don't even know how to say it. Just everything. But I mean, his growth has been cool. I was actually talking about it with our other tour manager earlier. Josh put a video out on Instagram of him covering the song Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, dude, I saw him do that when he was opening for Nickelback.
He does it most shows, and Austin Friedland, I don't know how to say his last name, the video guy that's on the road with us, took a video of Josh singing it. Josh posted it. It has it sitting at like 2.5 million views on his Instagram. Dude, he's went up like 30,000 followers just from that one video. So then a lot of people, like I'll say, I'm on the road with Josh Ross, and they're like, oh, what does he sing? I'll play Trouble or Ain't Doing Jack, and they're like, oh my God, I've heard this. So it's really cool to like see those people kind of connect a face with a sound, and just to watch everything unfold it's beautiful.
He's got one of the best voices ever, dude. I remember hearing him sing Trouble. Like, I think this was Whiskey Jam. This was Baril's. I think it was his birthday. Whiskey Jam. Remember that at Winners?
Yeah.
And Josh played it, and then to see him like at Bridgestone opening for Nickelback.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. Cause like I mean, he's got like it's like almost every song he puts out goes to the highway or something.
Yeah.
Like he's killing it.
That's how it seems. He he's about to drop new music soon, and I haven't got to do a Nickelback show yet. So one of the festivals we're playing this weekend, I can't remember which one it is exactly. We're playing 3, but one of them is Nickelback's headlining. So I really hope we get to stay, because I know Josh and them have seen him 100 plus times, and played with him 100 plus times, but I've never got to see him. So
I wish you came to the Nickelback show with us.
Yeah,
it was like all the the Raised Rowdy crew.
Yeah.
That was a good
Might have
time.
been a good thing I didn't come. Might have got a little too rowdy.
That reminds me. This was the question. I had a question for you, and I was about to ask it, and then it totally like left my mind.
Oh, word.
But that just reminded me. You obviously we've partied together a lot, and the road can be a dangerous place when you're out in bars and just around alcohol all the time, and just kind of
for sure.
You're the rock star lifestyle. So how do you balance not essentially killing yourself while being on the road?
I guess that's a good question too. So growing up, my mom is one of the most clean eating, super healthy, super clean people you'll ever meet. Me and my dad have a joke at home, our house is so clean and everything's so organic that you could drop a piece of food on the ground and then just pick it up and eat it. But I say that to say, growing up, my mom would always implement good eating with us. I know you probably can't tell. I've been drinking a little too much beer probably. But just kind of taking those grocery shopping habits, or just kind of learning, instead of getting a drink, if you want this drink, get a 0 calorie drink. So snacking wise on the road that's kind of where my health thing kind of comes into play. I try to keep it healthy on that side. But I've been real good about taking multivitamins and trying to take I've been taking a vitamin D supplement. I've been taking some magnesium. I just try to take stuff that's good for your body. So when you do, go out and have a pretty rough night, you wake up the next morning and you try to, get it all out of your system. But it's just, when I first started going on the road, it was, oh my God, dude, this is so cool. We're playing 3 shows back to back to back. We got a rider with whiskey on it and free beer. Let's get drunk. And I've slowly learned that doing that every single night really affects your productivity the next day. Mm-hmm. So, you can go out with whoever, and especially being a tour manager, assistant tour manager, you can't really, there's not really room to be hungover.
Yeah.
So it's just really finding balance. I'll go out with the guys and, have drinks and, sometimes have too much fun. But it's a lot of, okay, if we go out tonight, tomorrow we got to do this, or if we don't go out these 2 days, the last night, we'll just go out and have fun. But just balancing, dude. You can't, I don't know, I'm not 21 anymore. 19, 20, 21 with a fake ID. I can't go out and just be stupid. Now, especially when you represent a band and me or Elliot, the other tour manager, we're the first people that these people see at venues, opening up the doors or going in for sound check or load in. If I'm hungover and I'm hey, I'm here with Josh Ross.
Yeah.
What the hell is this kid's problem? So I don't know, just realizing that. But all the other guys will get tore up, and it'll be fun just to kind of mess with them.
Yeah, I've heard different perspectives because
I do know a lot of people that fall in that trap, and it's really really easy, because everything's, not everything, but it's essentially free. If you got a thing of whiskey over here and you got some beers and seltzers, and then you go out and people recognize you or whatever, and I don't know, dude, it's a really easy trap to fall into. But I think that just comes down to kind of yourself. You need to look in the mirror and be is this a problem? Am I drinking too much? Am I doing whatever too much?
Exactly. I've heard different perspectives where, like you said, you can fall into that trap. It's really easy to just go out on the road and just enjoy the moment, but you're just, there's no ill intentions, I guess, of I could go out there and just kind of fall into that drinking all the time to where it progresses to where it's a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, causes an issue for the team and just making putting a bad impression on the camp and with the venues and all that stuff, and just not being.
But as long as you can go out and have fun and still get your work done, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
As long as you can, go in, have a few beers, have a few cocktails, whatever it is, and then wake up the next morning and go.
I think it's different also when you're dealing with a band that is single and not tied down to where they have a family and kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Corey Kent's tour manager came on Bo, and a lot of Corey's band is married with kids, and they're all to the point where they don't want.
Yeah,
to
they've
go
probably
out and
already
drink.
done all of it that you can. They're probably seasoned, pretty some vets out there.
Where it's they'll drink every now and then, but they're not going to get hammered and be hungover, or they're not just going to go out super late. They're there for a job, and they just kind of get it done and move on.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of different perspectives of the road.
Yeah.
I was just kind of curious how you balanced that.
Yeah, it's kind of just keeping, like my head on my shoulders and just knowing, like, if I was to fall in that trap, I could lose my job. Like, I could,
Build bad
mess a
reputation.
lot of shit up. I could build a bad reputation. But kind of on that same subject and, like, in town, like, I remember when I first moved here, dude, I went out every single night. I had a 9 to 5, like I was saying, at the construction, like, or what was it, 7 to 4, 8 to 4. But I was going out every night. Was I drinking and getting hammered every night? Absolutely not. First of all, I couldn't afford it. And number two, like, I was just going to meet people. And that's still how I am. Like, after a show, like, don't get me wrong, dude, I love to go out and, like, drink with my buddies. Like, it's, we're in our early 20s. It's what people do. But one of my favorite things is, like, going out. Like, when I was going out with Drayton or going out with, even, like, when we go out with Josh sometimes after a show, and people recognize you from the show and, like, they'll, buy you a beer, or, like, even I've been out with some artists that don't drink, like with Trey. Trey will still go out to the bar sometimes with us, just have a good time, just drink, like, Sprite or something, and then just, like, hang out with everybody. But, like, I think that's so cool, where, like, when you're in that scene and, like, the fans come up, and if you do drink, having a beer or two with the fans, like, I just think that all that is so cool to, like, see those two worlds combined. But that is where, too, you could kind of go south. Everybody wants to buy you a beer, buy you a shot. But, like, being in town and just going out and networking, like, even after the shows when they're meeting the artists too, like, I just like to go out and meet people. Mm-hmm. And that's always, like, a really cool place to do it for me, especially, like, if it's by a venue or, like, if my friends are out with me. Yeah, just finding that balance, not drinking too much, staying hydrated.
I'm glad you brought up the networking part, because, like, even for me, there was a period of time when I first moved to town, everyone, especially when you're over 21 and you're just trying to build that network, you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You come to town not really knowing anything, and you just go out and you think everyone's going out and partying. So, like, there was times I would go to Live Oak to, like, raise Rowdy stuff. You probably see me like this. It's like I was just getting pretty hammered, just trying to, like, just be in there networking.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah, and I was so wrong, because then I'm going up and, like, shaking people's hands and I'm hammered.
Yeah. And
I just build a bad reputation. And I know there was a night, I forget what round it was. I think it was the Hitmakers and Heartbreakers or something, like Valentine's Day last year, when you were there, and we were both pretty hammered.
Probably.
But I just remember, like, I was going up and, like, talking to people, and you could tell, like, anyone that talked to me was like, this kid's blasted. And it, like, clicked for me the next morning. I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been, like, drunk like that since that day.
Yeah. The only times I really ever now get drunk, like, when I'm out, and it's once a year, like, if I have my birthday around. Now, if my friends were in here, they would say that's a lie. But, yeah, dude, it's just about, going out, having a beer or two, but you're just in that, like, I mean, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, like, that the big scene, is at the bar. But I don't know. I feel like, if anybody takes, gets a cocktail or gets a beer, like, everyone's, just kind of social.
Yeah.
And it's really cool, like, when I see, like, all my friends that are sober, like Burrell and Trey, and there's a few other guys in town, too. It's just see them out there, and then it's like, I would say it's kind of like high school. It's like, you got, like, your seniors. Yep. You got, like, your seasoned vets. Then you got, like, your juniors, the guys that have been here for a while. Like, sophomore guys have been here a few years. Then you got your freshman class kind of that just got to town. And then that's a place where everybody is kind of all at the same time. So, yeah, for sure. You can't get too drunk. I learned that for sure. Because I remember moving up here, too, and kind of thinking the same thing. Like, damn, dude, everybody's going out every single night, and everybody's drinking. Yeah. Like, this is awesome. This is so
it's like
cool.
College.
Yeah, dude, this is literally adult college. And then I go out, and I'm like, oh, people are going up here to network, listen to music, make connections, artists, producers, managers, photographers, whatever it is. Like, I can't be out here just, like, screaming. Like,
yeah, they're
double fisting 2 Jack and Cokes on a Monday night.
Exactly, because
like
they know how to.
Yeah.
And I've seen you do that a million times. Just put it out there. But they know how to, like, pace themselves and be professional about it. And that's the biggest thing, is, like,
that's what it's about, is pacing yourself.
Like, even if you're a 21-year-old kid that's going out and networking, yeah, you're young and you want to have fun, but, like, you have to keep professional in this town. Like, that's what we are. That's the business. Like, we are in this music business profession. And, like, even if you work for a publishing company, a label, or you tour manage somebody, like, you are working with their business.
You're
like,
representing
Josh Ross's business. But also at the same time, when when you're in this business, you are your own business. Like, you are representing yourself. Like, you have to market yourself as a business.
Yeah.
And if you like paint yourself with this bad reputation by going out and just being sloppy drunk or just being unprofessional, like, word's gonna get around.
Yeah, for sure. There was I'm not gonna say who, but there was an artist one time. Me and my buddies were at Losers, and we were walking out, and we noticed like there's a man by Velvet Taco in the bushes, like laying down, just belligerent. We were like, "Oh, dude, should we go help him?" So we walk over there, and one of my buddies knew who it was, and he was like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, get up!" Like, this guy's an artist signed to a label, and just laying in the bush, dude. Like, if that gets out to the media, or he does something stupid, or he gets in a fight and he goes to jail, and God forbid Scoop Nashville get a hold of that. But it's not. I mean, it's gonna be who it is. The blame's gonna be on them, but it's gonna be like so and so's artist, or like whatever record label they would be with artists, or whatever booking agent, like so and so's booking, so and so signed with blah blah blah, got arrested for public intoxication or whatever. So it's on yourself, like you said, and then it's also on the bigger picture, like you were saying too. So yeah, you just gotta just pace yourself.
Yeah.
And professional.
Yeah, exactly.
I have fallen into the trap a little bit when I go out now that I'm like, oh, okay, like I know enough people, like I can get a little buzz going, and then I'll get out there and just have to go home.
Dude, honestly,
but I don't know. We have fun out here.
Some of my friends and probably my girlfriend can attest to this for sure. It's gotten to the point, and this is going to sound bad to anyone listening that does not know the industry that well, or like what the nightlife is like in the typical like music business spots. But like, I've lost essentially like the fun. Like I used to go out and be like fun.
Yeah.
But now I'm not, because I'm paranoid. And not in like a bad way, but it's just like I'm afraid. My biggest fear is like someone thinking, oh, this kid's drunk, like, and talking bad about me, and just like.
One thing that I've learned, that this is not an excuse to go out and get drunk and be stupid, but on those handful of nights, when you're first moving in town and you're kind of getting the gist of it, and you're drunk and you're just being stupid. Like that one time you were saying, first I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Because, we have so many, like, nights out and, like, meeting people and shaking hands. It's like, if you go out and let's say you were in Red Door and you fall down, or, like, you spill a drink all over yourself. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, my God, dude, look, Peyton's drunk as hell. It's like 2 days later, life here moves so fast, no one remembers that shit. Now, if you go out and, like, just destroy some shit or throw up on the bar and throw up on everybody, yeah, that'll probably be talked about for a long time. But I've learned, too, like, the paranoia, like, on the, like, the Sunday scaries, as we call it. It's like, if you didn't do anything stupid, if you're just out like drunk having a good time and your friends are out with you and you're not really causing no damage, it's like in a few days no one's gonna remember that shit because everything's moving so quick here.
Yeah.
Like I have those key moments with my friends, like when Excuse the Mess dropped by Austin Snell. Me and all of my buddies, Christian Yancey, Austin, Cody, Jake, Walker Wilson, Paxton, Hunter Chastain, like all of us, dude. We just went out, like, shout out to Sam. Sam was with us that night. But when all of this, like, when that night happened, like, we just went out. We had, like, we went out to eat, went out to the bar. Like, we just went everywhere. And we had so much fun. We talk about it all the time. But then you have those other, like, moments in there when, like, you have to remind somebody. And they're like, oh, yeah, I do remember that. That's how I've kind of took it. But, don't go out and get sloppy drunk and then do something that everyone's going to remember. But if you go out and you're lit, like 7 days pass, no one is gonna remember that.
And it's not so much like I'm worried about me doing something. Yeah. It's more or less the fact, like, being 24, like, we're young kids as far as like to think about. Like, I don't really feel like a kid. Like if you told someone I'm just a kid when you're 24 years old, people would be like, no, you're not. Dude,
it's weird. Sometimes I still feel like I'm not as athletic and like agile and in shape as I used to be, but I still feel young, dude.
Dude, I thought that too.
I still feel young.
I thought that too. And then I joined a basketball league. And so I did jiu-jitsu and a basketball league both at the same time.
Oh, my God.
And it was like...
I bet you were so sore.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I was like, I can never do anything athletic again. Yeah. Like, I'm never going to run ever again, probably.
Like, mentally and... I don't know, dude. I feel really young. And I hope I feel like this for a long time. I know I still look kind of young too. The mustache is helping me out a little bit, but I went and bought a lighter like a couple days ago. I got ID'd for a lighter. A lighter, dude. They said, "Can I see your ID?" I said, "Are you serious?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Do you not see this?" Like, I feel like I look at least 20.
I don't know.
But I hope that, but like feeling young and then looking young too, I guess. Like, I hope, when we're older, 45, 50 years old, like, I hope I'm like, I still feel like this.
Yeah.
Or I hope I still, look young or whatever. But I don't know. I think, I don't think, I feel old, I guess, like what you're saying, do fit like some physical activity just because I'm out of shape.
No, yeah, I feel young.
Hell, if you want to start running together, we can.
Dude,
Get back into shape.
I want to do it. And, like, just because, even when you're in high school and stuff, like, you'll still get sore.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just, like, I don't have it like I used to, which is crazy.
Not at all.
Yeah, but mentally I do. Like, I'm still there. Although having a full-time job does wear on a human being.
100%.
When you're in like high school and college and stuff, you're like,
yeah, dude, all you're worried about is sports and girls.
Exactly. And I look back and I'm like, dude, I was so stressed about like, I have this test coming up.
Little shit that didn't matter.
Or like, oh, dude, I hope my girlfriend's gonna like watch me at my basketball game tonight. Or you're like stressed out when you look in the stand, she's not there or something.
Yeah.
And now I have to worry about like rent and providing and just like real life shit that I don't ever want to have to worry about.
Yeah, 100%.
But as far as the business, we are kids.
Yeah.
Like when you tell someone,
dude,
like some old head, you're 24.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just a baby.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you got your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah, dude. And it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. Especially,
I feel like I'm in like quarter life crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that half the time. Half the time I'm like, oh, dude, this is awesome. I got my life together. It's great. The other half I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's just this business, dude. It's just figuring it out.
Just a roller coaster,
Yeah.
but it's fun, and it really helps. Like when you get people like you and Burrell, Nikki T, just like all the homies too. Like I always feel like all my friends that I've made like personal connections with in town. Like let's say music business just didn't exist tomorrow, like we'd still all be homies.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really important too, especially being in town. Walker Wilson said it one time to me. One of us was sick. Actually, it might have been me that was sick. I think it was me. I was sick, like staying in bed for a few days. Walker called me and was like, "Hey, dude, you need me to like run you some medicine to the house?" And I was like, "Nah, dude." I was like, "You ain't got to do that." Well, he was like, "Well, how the hell are you gonna get medicine?" And I was like, shit, I don't know, dude. I might DoorDash it or get out of bed and go." And he was like, "No, dude, like I'm close to your house. I'll get it. Just text me what you need." And I was like, "Bro, you do not have to do that." And he was like, "No, dude, like we ain't got family up here."
Yeah, dude,
and that's kind of like,
facts.
I was like sitting there after that, and I think I like hung the phone up and like he came or whatever. But I was like, damn, dude, that's true. Like we don't have family up here. Like I can't, call my mom or my sister or a cousin or something or grandma. It's just like the homies up here that you got to look out for each other.
And I think that also does like wear a little bit. I think I've talked about it on here before, where it's almost like it doesn't feel like reality yet. It still feels like, especially when you're in your first couple years of being in town, it feels like you're off away at college.
Yeah.
Like when you're done, you're going to go back home and be with your family.
Yeah.
But what the scary part is like when you make the decision to move here and like work a full-time job and you're not here for college, like that's it. Like you're going to get married here. You're going to raise your kids here.
Yeah.
You're going to hopefully like die here if you last long enough in this business.
For real. If we don't pull our hair out first.
Exactly. But it's crazy to think that like for me, like this is it. This is like, and I think that's what causes like the quarter life crisis. It's like when you're in college, everyone's thinking like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And you can still do that, but it's like, oh, I'm moving to Statesboro, Georgia. Oh, I'm moving to Orlando, Florida. Oh, I'm moving back home. Now I want to move to Nashville. Well, I'm in Nashville. So now it's like I'm here forever. Which is like
people
also,
ask me like all the time too. It kind of made me think of it when you're saying that. Like what do I want to do? Like, when I'm 60, like what do I want to be doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I honestly do not know. I don't know if I want to get into management. I don't know if like I want to work for a label. I don't know if I want to like fucking shot in the dark and start my own label, sign my own like acts, or be a booking. Like I have no idea, dude. I'm just figuring it out kind of as I go and having fun with it. And I think that's like the biggest. That's like what fuels my fire. Like the day that I don't have fun anymore, or like the day that I'm like, dude, I wake up when we're on the road or like whenever I'm in town, like shooting video or like content for a round. It's like I've really been trying to change my mindset of this. It's like I get to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, you wake up for a 9 to 5 in an office, like in a cubicle somewhere, like in New York City or something, that just a job you hate. Like you get up and you're like, damn, dude, like, oh my God, I gotta go to work. This sucks. But if you change it, like, holy shit, I get to go to work. Like, there's people that can't work. There's people that would literally kill to be in the position I am. Like me 3 years ago, dude, to do what I'm doing right now, I would have literally done anything possible to just like be a fly on the wall to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I really have to like sit back and have those moments. Like I have them. I wouldn't say a lot, but I've been having more recently to where like I'll be on stage or I'll, be in the van or the bus or thousands of miles away from where like I'm from and just like sit back and just kind of stare out and just think to myself like, oh my God, like this is my life. This is what I get to do for work. This is how I pay my bills. Like this is incredible. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be doing this.
Dude, there's this when I was living in Orlando, and this was 2019, so this was it was like fall 2019, so a couple months before COVID happened, and that's when I moved back to Fort Myers, was during COVID.
Yeah.
But like I do this weird thing where I write down my goals, like as we were getting closer to the new year.
Yeah, that's a
I
great
was
thing
writing
to
down
do.
my goals, and I still have the envelope that I put it in. And one of the things was like, it was create a music business, or not a music business, like a music, like a Country Central type thing, or like a Raise Rowdy, like a country music media, social media page. And then the other one was work in the music business. And I had no idea. I was at a junior college in Orlando, Florida. I had no idea. The only person that I knew in Nashville was Hayden Kaufman and his manager at the time.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then just to like look back on all the things that happened, the people that I met, the opportunities, the doors that opened, and it's crazy. Like I'm working A&R at a record label. Like 2019 me that was sitting at my desk writing down my goals for the new year, like would have never in a million years have imagined that I would be where I'm at. Like that it happened.
Yeah, dude. It's a beautiful thing to see stuff like that like come to life.
100%.
Like next time you're having a bad day, just think about that for real. That's what's helped me a lot. And it's funny you say that. So whenever I'm like backtrack really, really far back, I was saying I'm from Carrollton, or I'm from Douglasville, Georgia, but I grew up like close to Carrollton and going to college in Carrollton. And Noah Hicks and Reed Morris, they're both from Carrollton. Shout out to the boys. But before I moved, like so I got my camera in 2019. So like when I was doing the like rap stuff, I was also like becoming pretty good buddies with Noah Hicks. And he was doing opening shows for like Blaine Rudd, Jordan Fletcher, open for Muscadine. Who else? There's a few more that I can't think of. But I would tag along with Noah, take pictures, and he wasn't making really any money. It was just acoustic openings. So they're not making too much money. He might have thrown me like $50, maybe $100, or he would always take care of me. Like always pay for my meals and drinks, which I'm very fortunate for. But I say all that to say, we were just kind of like figuring it out too. And Noah was just like, he had a manager that's not his manager anymore at the time, and he had just kind of got like management, not like official management, but someone that was helping him out. And he was playing like bigger shows, like Jordan Fletcher and Muscadine was pretty big. But I remember like talking to him specifically like a few times, and we were just like, dude, like if we can get if we can get something moving, like this would be cool. Like I remember watching Noah do it at a Mexican restaurant in Carrollton. Like there's 7-8 people in there. He's just playing in the corner with like a little tip jar. And then like to see him out on the road with Scotty McCreery and all the
signed to a huge major.
Yeah, signed a huge major and just doing the thing, dude. Like it's so cool. Like I'll go to his house or his apartment sometimes and we'll just hang out, watch TV and just talk. And I can remember doing that same thing like 2020, 2019. But now like the scale is 100 times what it was.
Yeah.
So it's really important. You're not supposed to dwell in the past or like think about the past too much because it messes up the present and the future. But it's really cool to like look back on those times and kind of see how far up we've came. That's a big like self-motivation thing for me.
And I think like another point to add to that is, and like your journey is, you kind of have this plan. At least for me, I had this plan once I finally made the move and was like got into the business more.
Yeah.
I had this plan of how everything was going to play out, of like what I wanted to do, who I was going to be, and how I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And like right when I thought I had it all figured out, God just like laughed at me and threw a wrench in my entire plans.
That's how it
so
goes.
Like, because I mean, you remember I was doing my management thing. I had the 22 Entertainment, and I was like, in my head, I'm gonna be my own boss my entire time in the business. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna have my company. I'm gonna have all these artists. I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna be this huge, big time manager.
Yeah.
And to the outside world, and like even in the business, I probably look like an idiot, just some like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kid. But then
it shows you were eager.
Yeah. Then Zeb reached out to me at River House, and I had an interview there, and like they hired me for A&R, and it was just like my entire plan like flipped around. Now I'm doing something entirely different.
Yeah.
So like for you, right now you love the tour management stuff, and you have this plan like I'm gonna tour manage forever. But at some point, like even maybe when you have a wife and you have the family, like you may wake up and you're just like, this is not like, this isn't for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's okay. Like in this business, like whenever you have a plan, like it's guaranteed not gonna go the way you think it is.
That's a big thing. Is like why I was saying earlier, I don't really know what I want to do at the end of the day. Like I know it's gonna be something in the business. I don't know. Like I said, management, booking, label, on my own label. But I think that's the beauty of it. It's kind of like not knowing. Just when you don't know, that means you say yes to everything. You just learn. I just want to get all that experience to where like I kind of have all the experience that I need, and I know enough about it to where like, then I can go into management because I know a lot about it, or like, and then I can go learn more, or I can go work for a label. Like A&R would be sick, or whatever it is, just get enough experience of it and just learn as much as you can, and then go apply it somewhere else. Scooter Braun, he's a big, I don't even know if influence is the right word. So like a lot of people have their views on Scooter and what he's done in the music scene, and good person, bad person. Throw all that shit to the side. His catalog of artists is probably it's probably arguably the best management roster in the history of music ever. I mean, his roster of people that he's managed is incredible, and I think it goes down to obviously just doing what you say you're going to do, and then like I said, people have their own opinions of him, whether they like him or not.
And when you're doing it at a large scale like that, I mean that goes for like any athlete or musician, like someone at that caliber where he's a household name.
Yeah,
it's hard for a manager to be a household name.
Yeah,
so when you're on that much big of a scale, everyone's going to have something to say about you, good,
100%.
Bad.
Yeah, that's when like your personal life opens up, and like your political views and your religious beliefs and your personal beliefs of how you think the world should be ran and stuff like that kind of comes out to like the public when it really shouldn't. So people form their own opinions, like I was saying, but I don't know, dude. I followed him on Instagram for a while. Like I remember watching the Justin Bieber movie when I was like, how old was I? 12, 13 maybe? I can't remember. And I said this I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, dude, I really think that's kind of like when the first time I was like, wow, like you can work in the music industry but not be like musically talented. Because like where I'm from, like I said, no one does music, or I mean not where I'm from, like my family, no one does music. So I remember like watching that movie, dude. I watched that shit like 3 or 4 times. Like I thought it was so cool. And I was like, Scooter Braun, that's crazy. Like Scooter Braun just gets to be here and be a part of it. That's what I thought at first. Like, he's just there, like he's having fun. It's sick. And then you come to town here, work for a while, and you're like, okay, wow, that man was very, very, very stressed.
Yeah.
But like you said, a household name, dude, how cool would it be if like someone be like, yeah, dude, I want to be like Peyton Heben. Like, dude, that's sick. Like, he's so good. His roster of artists is so sick. Like, I don't know. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, and that's the goal. Like, I think everybody's trying to get at. And right now, there's people in Nashville that's like that. Like, I mean, Cappy is a prime example.
Yeah.
Like, for me,
that's a Nashville household name for sure.
Anyone in this business knows who Cappy is. I mean, he started one of the biggest artists in country music history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there are people doing it currently at our scale. And I think it like even Scooter was doing it, and then now he's just recently stepped down from management.
Yeah, I think he's been doing it 13 years maybe, and then he like stepped down. So
who knows what he's gonna do next? I mean, he's still young.
Yeah, but what's cool is like you do it 13 years and you meet all these people, all these connections. You leave on good terms, dude. You like, who's to say that he couldn't? You know, he could probably work for anybody. Mm-hmm. Like like you said, household name, probably does what he says he's gonna do. Very wealthy and successful man, and then made all these connections with God knows who. So like at the end of the day, you can, once you build your name up for yourself like that and you're just so good at what you do, you can probably do anything. Like he could probably reach out to anybody that he knows and says like, hey man, I would love to be a part of what you're doing. Like, is there any way that you can make that possible? So I don't know, dude. It'll be really cool to like sit back and watch like this whole thing in like, 20 years.
Yeah.
Fuck,
100%.
maybe we'll both be working with the next George Strait.
Yeah.
But I think that's the beauty of
nice.
it too. I mean, that'd be sick. Yeah, we can
Nice
go,
payday.
Yeah, dude, we can go vacation somewhere nice. So if you're that artist, you can come with me and Peyton on our big vacation.
Yeah, just shoot me an email and
we'll set it up.
Yeah, we'll get it going.
But yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, is not really knowing, but just just have like dude, don't shoot for the stars, don't shoot for the moon. There's footprints there.
Yeah.
Like shoot past that shit. Like I don't know, dude. I think everybody here in town that is a good worker and just kind of has like me and you mindset. Like it's a competition, but it's not a competition too. People get that confused. Like we're all trying to get to the top, but once you start kind of working together, that's how you get up there quicker.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the end goal, dude, is just to fucking go.
Because I mean now, when you and I came in, like both at young ages,
fresh, green, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Not knowing nothing.
And now we like know stuff.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot to learn.
I wish I could go just grab my 21-year-old self that moved here and sit him down for an hour and just drill some stuff into his head.
But also being here and not knowing shit about shit helps a lot when you're seeing these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 21-year-olds that are moving to town now. Like I get DMs all the time, especially because of this podcast, where it's like people listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
21, 20-year-old kids
that
want to be in the business that don't know anything. And it's just like, I respect that.
Yeah.
That they like want to hit me up, and it probably happens to you too. And you'll probably get it on being on the road. Like when people are opening for Josh and there's some fresh tour manager that's like, hey, Brennan, like, can I shadow you? I really want to learn this, like what a tour manager does at a bigger level.
For sure.
So, I mean, you're not going to like blow them off and be like, no, dude, I'm busy.
Yeah. I got hit up by this one kid. Dude, I don't want to say his name wrong because this is recording, but I'm pretty sure his name is Ryan Young Photos. Ryan Young Photography. I think his name's Ryan Young, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to check my phone. But he DM'd me maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I saw it. I didn't really open it. I saw it again, like another message. And so I opened it. And he was like, hey, man, I just graduated high school. Like, I'm about to go on the road with Nico Moon.
Oh, hell yeah.
And do camera work. I think he, like, saw my Brennan Token account. And he was just asking me questions. I'm not going to lie. Like, he was, sending me a few questions. And I was like, dude, like, I'm too busy. Like, I got way too much shit going on. I'm not responding to this. And I remember, like, literally throwing my phone on the couch and then, like, sitting there for a second. And I was like, dude, that was me when I was DMing, like when Dick Down in Dallas came out, dude. I was Drew Trosclair. Drew, when you watch this, I'm gonna send this to you. I was DMing Drew Trosclair so many times, dude. I wanted to go shoot for Trey Lewis so bad. I didn't know Trey. I didn't really know Matt that well because Matt was friends with him, but Matt wasn't, I guess, on the road with him. So I remember hearing that Drew was a writer on Dick Down in Dallas. So I remember DMing him multiple times a day, probably to the point where he should have blocked me,
dude.
And I remember him like responding to me and being like, yo, dude, like I don't tour with Trey, like I'm not playing guitar for him. I can put a word in, but like I'm not the person to hit up. And I remember being like, damn, dude, now this guy hates me.
Yeah,
I remember when I threw my phone and then I was like, dude, that was me. I gotta respond to him. So I responded to him and like we haven't met yet. We've kind of just been like internet buddies. But his work with Nico was fucking sick. Like he's really good at what he does. So like I kind of want to meet him and see like how his mannerisms are and how everything is, and just kind of give him like some advice that I wish somebody would have gave me.
100%. And that's like what I appreciate having you on this podcast. Like you're able to give that advice.
Yeah.
To anyone that's listening.
Yeah,
anyone that follows you on Instagram is now going to see that you're on this and like listen.
I don't think
hear
that
your advice.
anybody should gatekeep anything in this industry.
100%,
Like people are always
dude.
like they need to figure it out, and it's like, yeah, dude, like you can tell someone to do something. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Exactly.
Like you can at least, don't do this. Like, oh, I see you're doing this, bro. Like that's not gonna help you out. Like it may look like it is, but I promise you, because I've done it or whatever it is. I don't know if everybody would just help each other, it'd be way better business.
There's so many like messages that I have that I've sent to like artists or anybody in the industry that I've sent like 5 years ago at this point, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'll like, now I know them and I'll like just be in our DMs for something. I'll like scroll up and there's just like shit that I was saying to them that I just can't believe I was like.
Dude, that's how it was with Shabuzi. I remember when I was like, I forget what year it was, bro. I'd have to look. It was rather like 2019 or 2020. I mean, dude, it was maybe 2021. I can't really remember. I think Beverly Hills had been out. I don't know what year that was. But I remember Whiskey Jam. What was the takeover? Damn, dude. I can't think of the takeover name, but it was Shabuzi played. No, Shabuzi was just there. He didn't play. Josh Ross played. Wyatt Flores played. There's a few other people that played, but I was there with Wyatt and like
Recently?
and his guys. This was October, maybe last November, potentially.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was it?
It was
a
a festival takeover. No, it was at Dirk's. Anyways.
Oh, was it Honcho?
No.
Oh no, that was outside.
Can't think. It was some festival takeover. Anyways, Shabuzi was there, and one of Wyatt's managers had worked with Shabuzi at Empire back in the day. So he knew Shabuzi. Shabuzi was there, and this was way before like Bar Song. Like Beverly Hills had been out, obviously. So he was popular.
Yeah, he'd been doing it.
He'd been doing it for a while. Nate Smith played that night. I have a picture of Wyatt, Nate Smith, and Shabuzi that I took. I'll have to find it and send it. But anyways, so we get to Red Door after Whiskey Jam, and there's like us, Willie Jones. It was like a bunch of the homies. Ben Burgess was up there. But I remember me, Wyatt, and Shabuzi were like in the back right hand. Like when you walk into the bar, we're in the very back corner. So wherever they're talking, and I turn around, I was like, yeah, dude, we should all get a photo together. They're like, yeah, dude, for sure. So take the photo, and we took the photo. We took a few photos, and I showed it to Shabuzi, and he was like, yo, dude, like send that to me. And I was like, oh, I don't have your number. I didn't want to ask for his number. That'd be weird because I just met him. So I was like, I'll just DM it to you on Instagram. He's like, bet. So I DM it to him, and I'm like scrolling up, and I'm like, oh no. It was just like a paragraph like, hey, dude, started doing like camera work. This was like a while back. Like did camera work, and I even like listed like people I've done camera work for. So I was like reading it, and I was like, oh, dude. So I showed him, and he just started laughing. And it was just like a funny moment. But I remember like sending artist messages like that. But yeah, dude,
I had some,
it's so
most
funny.
recently I had some messages with John Langston that I did not know that I had. And it was like me, a freshman in college at Georgia Southern. And I was like, oh, John Langston's awesome. He comes and plays Statesboro. Like people love him here. I'm going to invite him to all of our fraternity parties. So every time we had a fraternity party, I'd send him the flyer. I don't know why. I was like, wouldn't that be sick? All the sorority girls would love if John Langston was at our party.
Did he ever read one?
No.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But then I unsent them all because now he follows me. So I just unsent everything. So I'm just like, if
yeah.
I ever swipe up on something, like because I was about to say something to him, just like on one of his stories.
Yeah.
And I like went to say it. And I saw all the messages, and I was like, no shot.
That's hilarious.
Like, I'm going to have to unsend that.
I've definitely unsent a few things. But yeah, dude, that's funny.
Yeah. But the last question I wanted to ask was, what's your advice to a younger generation of people coming into the music business that are trying to get into any aspect of it that you haven't touched on already?
I haven't touched on. My first answer was gonna be networking, and we talked about that a good bit.
Or you could just elaborate more.
Yeah,
on
I really
something,
don't even.
I guess.
So networking's a weird word. Because everyone's like, yeah, dude, just got to network, and no one, like I said again, no one really tells you how to do it. So, if I was to come to Nashville tomorrow, and I didn't know anybody, and I was starting all over, but knowing a little bit of what I know now, this is what I would do. I would go to Instagram. I would follow Raised Rowdy. I would follow Live Oak Music. I would follow Losers and Winners. I would follow Whiskey Jam. I would follow. I mean, if once you get on Raised Rowdy and Whiskey Jam, you're gonna learn what a songwriter's round is. Mm-hmm. And I would just try to find all the names of all the writers' rounds. And if you can't even do that during the week, Monday through Friday, actually no, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for the next however long you need to, go to Live Oak, go to Red Door, go to Losers, go to anywhere on Music Row. Specifically those 3 bars that I just named. Go out and just walk up to people, and it sounds crazy, but just walk up to people and talk to them. Mm-hmm. And then people are like, what is that going to do? I'm like, okay, well, you go up to somebody, like, what's up, dude? I'm Brennan. I've seen you around town, I think. And then you'd be like, oh, really? Where at? Oh, dude, I don't really know. I just moved here not too long ago, just, trying to meet people and figure it out. Like, I have a camera. I do a little bit of camera content work. I'm really trying to get on the road and, see what tour managing's about. Like, what do you do? I remember specifically, I met Nick Kane that way at Live Oak. And Nick plays bass for Connor Sweeney and a few other guys in town. And I remember him saying, dude, hell yeah, dude, that's sick. Who are you here with? And I was like, I'm here by myself. They're like, oh, dude, well, come over here and meet Connor. This is the guy I play for. And the rest of our band's over here. And we met a few other guys. One guy's name is Christian Yancey, and one guy is Eamon Owen. So we all meet that one night just because I went up to Nick Kane, and I literally was like, dude, I like your mustache. That's all I said to him. So we just spark a conversation. So if you're a new kid in town, just go up to somebody and talk to him. If you see me from this podcast or you see me from anything, just come up and talk to me. I'll give you the time of day.
And I know for some people, obviously networking does not come very easy.
For sure.
Especially
if you're not so, yeah.
Yeah.
I would always, you got to break out of your bubble up here.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are like, well, that's just not how I am. I keep it to myself. And that's fine. You can network on social media. You can follow people, start commenting under their stuff, swipe up on their stories, and just kind of get that. That's what I did with a lot of people, I feel like. Just networking on social media, and then you meet them in person. You're like, hey, man, I'm Brennan. Mm-hmm. They're like, Brennan? What's your last name? I'm like, Brennan Kato. And they're like, dude, I think I've seen you on Instagram.
That happened to me a ton
TikTok
in Key West.
Whatever. Yeah. So just showing your face, showing your name, just that's my biggest piece of advice is networking. And my other big piece of advice is find people here that you can create a group of people, a circle with. So for me and my buddies, me, Jake Gant, Christian, Austin Snell, Hunter Chastain, Paxton Walker, Eamon Owen, I'm Bryce Leatherwood. Dude, I'm forgetting so many people's names. But we have there's always that big group chat that you're gonna have a group chat with some folks. Y'all are gonna have poker nights. Y'all are gonna have get together nights because, like I said, we don't have family up here. A lot of people don't. So if you find a good connection of guys, and then let's say one of them has a song that goes crazy, it's if they wrote it with some of these guys in here, then this circle of people is gonna get attention. So the more good people you have in your circle, and it kind of helps everybody. It's not as hard when you're doing it on your own and you're trying to find different aspects of things. I can't tell you how many times in our group chat people ask hey, does anybody know of any drummers available, any bass players? Our merch guy fell through this weekend, or does anybody know where I can get a van rental? Mm-hmm. So I would say networking, and then just networking comes with finding those good friends and those good people to keep around you. That's probably my big 2 pieces of advice. Now there's a bunch of other advice out there that's probably better, if not equal to what I said, but those are the 2 things that I really, really implemented in my first year up here, and networking was the biggest one.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off that, it was a lot of the social media, how I got to network without just going up and blindly introducing myself to people. I mean, I did do that, but it was without knowing who they are.
Yeah.
I would go on Raised Rowdy and or listen to podcasts. I would listen to Outside the Round.
You did your homework.
Yeah.
That's the thing I forgot to say is you got to get familiar with who's who.
Exactly.
I remember the first time I was when I moved up here, dude, I was a huge Sean Stimley fan. I would listen to his music a lot. And I remember seeing him at Live Oak, and I was just oh my God, dude, that's Sean Stimley. And some of my buddies are like, who's that? I'm like, dude, you don't know who that is? That's him. He sings this song, this song, this song. He signed to this person. They're like, how do you know this? I'm like, dude, I did my homework. Yeah. I've seen him online. And then just seeing other people just through social media. It's a crazy time we live in because you feel like you can kind of know somebody before you even meet them.
100%, dude.
Which is, just it's odd, but it's a cool thing too. But yeah, if you're new up here, just go out, get outside of your shell, go talk to somebody, especially at Live Oak. Live Oak is probably the most friendly place in this entire town.
Yeah, enjoy it while you can, because I don't know really what's happening to it.
I don't either. I've heard they're moving 2 doors down.
I think that's in the time being. Because
really?
I think Second Ave's being built right now. I don't know if that's still happening. I don't know.
I've
Live
heard,
Oak's a sweet spot.
I've heard a lot of things about Live Oak, but I owe literally like my whole career to Live Oak because I've met literally met you there. It's crazy. That's where I've had like my first takeover round ever. Y'all be on the lookout. February 2025, Brennan Took It takeover. Hopefully it'll be at Live Oak. We don't know yet, but
I've hosted rounds. I have yet to do a takeover at Live Oak.
Really?
For myself. I did a hurricane takeover. It wasn't Raised Rowdy, but I did it at with my old internship.
That was probably hands down my favorite night in Nashville was my takeover round. Just seeing all my friends come out and play. Had some guys I've toured with play. It was great.
Hell yeah, dude.
It was great.
Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, dude, I had a blast.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. No
that was
problem.
a good episode.
Yeah, it was great.
Peace. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Behind the Music Biz, a Raised Rowdy podcast. Again, I'm your host, Peyton Heben, and we'll see y'all next time for episode 25.